Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time to be buying into the vaccine space, given sort of the political climate that we have in the U.S. with Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has, pulled funding from various vaccines, and we've sort of seen a loss of public support for vaccines, but that has not stopped Lilly. I mean, Lilly has been on a tear recently with M&A. The company has a lot of cash on hand thanks to popularity of its blockbuster obesity and diabetes medications. And what it's looking to do now is to build toward that next era of growth. What happens after these medications that are fueling its growth right now lose patent protection, as they always do in the pharmaceutical industry. And so vaccines are going to be, at least it appears to be, part of Lilly's sort of next era. They hired former FDA official Peter Marks last year to lead their infectious disease unit, and then this is their first real foray into that space. So there are 3 different companies, as you saw, that they are buying as of today to target various different global health crises, from antimicrobial resistance to Epstein-Barr virus and others. So it will be pretty interesting to see what happens here.
Shingles as well.
One exactly,
other
shingles.
That might go up against, I guess the leader in that space is the, is it called?
Shingrix.
Shingrix, yeah. The Shingrix vaccine. So do we know more about this deal? I mean, I know the 3 companies that they're buying are privately held. But do we know anything else about these deals? Because usually with these kinds of things, there are milestones, as you, I guess, I don't know, set sales goals or what have you.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a part of this. There are going to be milestone payments. These various companies, I mean, based sort of all over the world, a couple in the U.S., outside of the U.S., I think one is based in Zurich. And so they, Lilly has a track record of going earlier in the, drug development process. They like to go for these earlier stage, cheaper deals versus later on sort of bigger mergers. And this is the sort of the same pattern that we're seeing here. A couple of them are in clinical development already. One of them is about to be ready for phase 1 trials. And so Lilly will be able to really partner with them and take them through that process, which is something that's often hard and expensive for biotechs to do on their own.
So for these big pharma companies that are out there in the marketplace with these weight loss drugs, they're not standing still, are they? They're making them better, more powerful, less side effects. What's Lilly doing, for example?
Lilly is basically doing everything. I mean, they have their strategy in obesity is to throw everything that they have at this. They don't want to be left out of it. They don't want what happened to Novo Nordisk to happen to them. I mean, Novo has sort of been caught flat-footed just by how quickly this market has moved. And there are a lot of competitors and a lot of people, like you said, trying to develop better weight loss drugs, whether that's, pill forms or less side effects or taken monthly. Novo's sort of struggling to figure out its next move and fill its pipeline. Lilly has, strategically made the decision years ago to throw everything that they had at obesity. And so they are looking at different types of molecules, something called amylin, which is thought to maybe be a little bit gentler on the stomach, maybe not have the same GI effects that the current generation of weight loss drugs have. They're looking at less frequent dosing. They just had a new pill approved. They are looking at drugs that are even more effective than the ones currently on the market. So it's pretty much like everything under the sun they want to be playing in.
Hey, the next area they need to focus on, they being the pharmaceutical industry, baldness.
Baldness.
You get a pill
yeah. Huge opportunity
that'll
there.
put hair back on, half the men out there.
He's looking at me.
Was a big,
It's not that bad.
I mean, is that something that they're talking about? Because that is the same areas as like obesity. Weight loss.
Exactly. So Lilly actually does have a drug for alopecia, which is a little bit different. But there is another company, and I'm blanking on the name, but I know the ticker is Maine, which is pretty creative, that has been getting some hype recently because they are developing supposedly better hair loss treatments. So that's one that I know people have been watching.
But when you look at these stocks, like Eli Lilly has barely budged year to date. And you mentioned Novo Nordisk sort of being held flat-footed. Year to date, they're down almost 12%, which, I guess I get that. But I would expect a more enthusiastic response to Eli Lilly. And for some reason, the stock's just not moving much.
Yeah. I think that's because at this point, they've just grown so much. Their valuation is enormous. They hit $1 trillion. They were the first healthcare company to hit $1 trillion valuation last year. And I think it's hard for investors to see much more right now. Like when you're at the very, very
have they
top,
sort of topped, right? They've peaked.
Right, like what is there to get excited about? Which, there is a lot that Lilly is doing, but I think to get it up from the high point that it's at now, I mean, it has to be something pretty spectacular. So I think that right now investors are sort of just watching and waiting to see what happens. Like, are they eventually, is there a mistake or a hiccup coming, or are they going to be able to sustain this incredible growth? And so I think that that's sort of the moment we're in right now, is like, okay, what are they going to do next? What's going to get investors excited about this company going forward? That's not to say that they're not already excited and doing super well now, but I think it's like, okay, sort of watching.
Well, the bar, when you're doing well, the bar gets raised, and it's hard to beat the heightened bar.
On a trailing 52-week basis, Eli Lilly, Merck, and Johnson & Johnson are each up 50% on a trailing 12-month basis. So
that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, so they've done pretty well.